I had a friend who was a diplomat, and he used to say to me when we were talking about new ideas, and he used to just say, "Patrick, just do it." And 9 times out of 10, if not 14 times out of 15, he was right on. And I'd finish whatever the project was and wonder, why did I have such a resistance to it? What was going on there? And then when I got to my assisted living building and saw this resistance on a much bigger level to new ideas, I thought, darn, I'm lucky. Because, I have people that gave me that little nudge, and I slowly became used to undertaking new things. And so I went, well, I'm doing good. And this idea keeps popping up in my head, though. Why are most of the people around me resistant to any new idea? And they complain that life is boring. And yet, they always shoot down pretty much anything that comes along that goes, hey, we could do something new. And then I began to wonder about something. I wonder if it's not the big idea that's the problem, not the big new one. But I wonder if on a much subtler level, people are keeping themselves within their perceived class location or class situation. There's a companion article on my website, notesintheleftmargin.com, called Compartmentalization of One's Place in Society, that goes into greater detail. But could it be that when a new idea arises, big or small, there is a judgment going on that says, this is where I'm at, this is my situation in life, and I'm sticking to it because I know it. It's one of those things that you would think in the 21st century we would be very adept at going, oh, no, you don't. That's the old way of thinking. We have made great strides in society, and there's lots of opportunities, lots of challenges. There is no such thing as a normal life. So you might as well get to it and get the most you can out of life. That's the big billboard, the big message. But I wonder if in the big message we're forgetting to address the subtler feelings that initially occur when being hit with something new. Even that statement, being hit with something new, is pseudo-negative. It's like hit. Instead of finding something new, experiencing something new. And there are a few people in my building that are really, really, really bright. And yet, you come up with an idea, and there's this almost instantaneous stall or scuttling of the idea. Someone said to me the other day, I'm going to volunteer sooner or later. And I'm thinking, why not now? And you know, like I would start at a library or any public community center. I'd literally just go in there and go, let's see what's going on, and let's see where I can kind of fit in. And if I can't find anything that's perfect, then I might go for another activity or another group, but it's a good way to get the foot in the door. But could it be that that's what it is, that it's really a class issue, but not a capital C class, but an emotional programming that says, this is where you belong in the strata, and anything else outside of that is not appropriate. And it's mind-boggling, but I think that's one of the issues that hasn't been addressed in the modern world. We're so busy looking at the big, bright lights that we're forgetting the tiny little conditionings that went on early in life. My father was a doctor, an anesthesiologist, and I believe he was the first man in Canada with polio who was a practicing anesthesiologist. And if that's not outside of the box, especially when you consider he grew up in the 30s and 40s, right? That's 1930 and 1940, where there was none of what we consider accessibility in place. As a matter of fact, there was bold negativity in that arena. It was like, nope, you're disabled, or you're handicapped or crippled. There's a word you haven't heard in a while. And you're staying there. That's the world for you. And here we are many years later, and we got a lot of good stuff done. But maybe it's time to look at the subtler stuff. And then the next question is, how do we get people to address that? And I guess it starts on an individual level. Let's see if I can get some of the people here to actually do what they say. Volunteer. And when I say volunteer, I mean outside of the building, outside of the institution, because that's key in order to grow. Anyway, there's some food for thought for you. You can read the written article on my website, notesintheleftmargin.com, and again, the title of the article is Compartmentalization of One's Place in Society. It's not a long article. You'll be able to read it in a minute or two. Let me know what you think. And if you get any ideas about moving forward for your own life or other people you know, let me know. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. My name is Patrick Clark. Bye-bye.